BlazBlue, Phase Shift 1, Hyper Ultra Turbo Extend 2 Electric Boogaloo, Prologue. The sounds of several people's footsteps were advancing in the long, dark corridor. Within the darkness, they passed through 10 heavy doors that had been built. One by one, they opened the doors with their hands as they walked, as opposed to their feet, I guess. Each time a door was opened, the darkness that was filling the surroundings grew thicker. Their feet should have been stepping on the solid floor of the corridor, but there was an illusion as if their feet were going to a deep, deep, bottomless abyss. Not unlike my ex's heart. The figure that had been leading halted her feet. A light sphere which was as big as a clenched fist was floating in the air. The pale white light illuminated the vicinity. The light, which was created by using magic, shone on a door that was previously covered in darkness. It was a wooden door. It was quite simple, different from the doors they had passed up until now. It was far from strong. There was a magic circle drawn on the door. Here, eh? Near the door, the figure who made the light and had been leading muttered an affirmation. It was a slender and tall woman who had a glamorous appearance. Still in her youth, the firm legs which were extending from the short skirt were beautiful. Jeez, you want to talk about how she smells too? With long hair flowing down her back, there was a big triangular hat like a witch from fairy tales would have placed on her head. She was called 9. Kind of a lame name. A wooden door with a sealing magic circle. It indeed feels secure. Unlike me. Since the wood was really old, it had good affinity with magic. It helped strengthen the magic. It made the magic better. It made the magic magicier. I dare say it out-magicked its magic with even more magic. Magically. Even though it looked fragile, in reality, it protected its inside more stubbornly compared to the doors they had passed so far. Naturally, something of that extent exists inside. Behind 9, a low voice groaned. It was a tall man in his prime age. The long hair on his back was tied up. His body was dressed in formal clothes. However, the body shape that arose on his first-rate shirt suggested that his body had been trained to fight. His name was Valkenhayn. What, we're not going to get titillating descriptions of how sexy his legs look? While Clavis was still alive, he personally sealed this place. It is not something that can be disengaged easily, even by the 10 sages of the Mages Guild. Are you testing me? Well, that's fine. Don't be so belligerent, 9. Be careful. Glaring at 9, the nearby third figure reprimanded her. In contrast to Valkenhayn, the person had a build so small even compared to 9. No, the silhouette was not of a human. The triangular ears sticking out from the top of his head, limbs which depicted a lenient curve, the swaying, shaking tail that branched into 2 on his back. His name was Jubei, a beastkin warrior who was formerly known as Mitsuyoshi. Clavis had made the Siwu this strong. Keep that in mind. I know. After she answered Jubei's words with a low tone, 9 turned around to face the door as if challenging it. The airspace, and also the seal. 9, Jubei, and Valkenhayn knew the man who created those. Clavis Alucard, a vampire who had lived no less than 1,000 years, continuously watching over the history of mankind. Oh god, that means he witnessed humanity's descent into modern warfare, nuclear proliferation, and worst of all, social media. He was no longer here. He had died a little while ago. How awfully specific. Just before that, he had stated his will to the butler, Valkenhayn. He had said, if a magician called 9 visits the seal, and also if she requires the content of the seal, guide her to this place and let her do as she pleases. He also said, on the off chance 7, 8, 9, you should lead them there instead. 9 entrusted the magic light to Valkenhayn. Then she held up both of her hands to the magic circle. The seal slowly unraveled, as if melting. After a little while, the magic circle that had emerged disappeared as if it was burning down. 9 unhesitatingly opened the door. Ahead was a completely plain, small room. Plain and small, just like my dick! Sorry. The floor, ceiling, and walls are made of old wood. Its purpose was to reinforce another seal inside the room. 9, uwu? As if holding back 9, who had taken a step into the room, Jubei let out a cautious voice. 9 halted her feet, but didn't look back. I'm fine alone. Rather, it'll be a hindrance to my magic if there's a lot of people. If something happens, quick we notify us, okay? Even if he had faith in her, he still worried. Leaving Jubei's voice behind her, 9 shut the door. Immediately, all sound faded away. Disconnected from outside, that place looked like an isolated cage of wood that didn't belong to any kind of space. Just like me back in elementary school. 9 created a small light once again. Lying in wait inside the darkness was a young man. He sat down on the floor with both arms hanging on the wall. When his appearance could be seen clearly, 9's expression took a steep change. It was by no means because of fear or because she was being cautious. The fact that her gaze became sharp was because of nothing other than pure anger. You are Yuki Terumi? 9's voice was shivering with fury. Struck by the magic light, the young man slowly raised his head while still inside the dark shadows. His mouth smirked in the shape of a crescent moon. That moment, 9 raised her supple leg up high and sent a kick to the side of the young man's face, who smiled eerily. This can't be. Don't mess with me. Why are you... Giving herself to anger, 9 repeatedly kicked the head, cheek, and mouth of the young man. God, I wish that were me. The young man's head violently shook. His seemingly unhealthy, pale skin split open. His cheeks and mouth became stained with red, his green hair disheveled. A moment later, the young man's head crashed onto the wall behind him with a particularly loud noise. Her chest began to rise and fall as her breathing became ragged. Kinda surprised the text didn't go into a weirdly detailed description about how sexy her boobs were here. Anyways, 9 lowered a high heel to the floor as if striking it. Then she brushed her hair back into place behind her back, as it had begun to obstruct her view. Looking at it, the restrained young man raised his completely wounded face and smiled. The countless wounds healed rapidly and disappeared. Ooh, scary, scary. Don't you know a woman's hysteria is hated? Don't talk pointlessly. Toward the young man's smile, which was filled with mockery, 9 retorted with a sharp voice. That's right. I don't have the time to waste talking with you. There's no time left for us, after all. Time? Time, huh? Not that it's got anything to do with me. That's not the case, 9 said firmly. The young man, who was bound with magic, stuck his chin out, purposefully giving 9 an exaggerated look. Huh? Whoa, you're in an awful hurry, ain't you? How unusual. As if interrupting his words, a stiff noise rang out. It was the sound of 9 kicking Terumi's head. Didn't I say not to talk pointlessly? You trash. 9 struck the floor with a sharp heel. Her mouth was trembling with boiled-up anger and contempt. Yuki Terumi, lend your strength for the sake of eradicating that monster. With a quite sharp tone of voice, 9 directed her gaze to the young man who was referred to as Yuki Terumi. The young man, Yuki Terumi, sneered. In a very Yuki Terumi fashion, someone named Yuki Terumi would do as a Yuki Terumi. Did I mention his name is Yuki Terumi? You asking me for help, 9 of the 10 sages? This seems serious, but you know, is that the kind of attitude to request help from someone? You should at least kneel down first. Again, the high heel kicked Terumi. This time was stronger, even when compared to the previous kicks. You don't have the right to refuse. Ow. My head isn't a soccer ball. Cursing her, he spat at 9's feet. God, I wish Terumi would spit at me. However, upon raising them, Terumi's provocative eyes immediately stiffened and opened wide. 9's thin finger was pointed at Terumi's forehead. The tip of her finger was shining with a cold, purple light. Terumi instantly understood the meaning of it. Enforced restraint, Mind Eater. A magic to restrain the soul and control over thoughts. As 9's voice spoke of inexplicable words, the light on her fingertip went inside Terumi's forehead. You bitch, do you think that sorry-ass magic can do anything to me? Bullshit. Don't screw around. You'll know soon enough. Hey, tell me you're joking. Seriously, don't play tricks on me. Hey, you hear me? You damn bitch. With his body furiously struggling, Terumi tried to escape from 9's magic, yet the small but cold purple light mercilessly, in accordance with the user's hateful mental state, obstinately ate away at the target's brain and nerves deeply. And then the light swallowed Terumi's white forehead completely. The small wooden cage became very quiet. Introverted cages be like that sometimes, I guess. With this, it's over. That was disappointing. As her mutter broke the silence, Nine released the magic that was binding Terumi. The sound of glass breaking rang out, and then it was sucked into the darkness. The powerless body of Terumi slanted forward, but still not falling. Terumi stood up with his head hanging. He was like a ghost without a purpose. Confirming it, Nine frowned in her contempt. As he was detestable to look at, she turned her back. As the wooden door that had been closed was opened, Jubei and Valkenhayn, who were waiting outside, instantly put themselves on guard. "Did it go smoothly?" Jubei asked. Jerking her chin, Nine urged their eyes to look past her. Beyond her was the figure of a tall, young man standing dazed in the dim room. That was Nine's answer. "I've obtained Yuki Terumi. We no longer have business here." Nine started walking away. Jubei gave a tug to stop her. "Is it really okay? Uwu, perhaps we getting our hands on something bad that we shouldn't get involved with." "I've told you already, power is essential for us."
I need more power!
"Unless that monster, Black Beast, is annihilated at all costs, there won't be a future for the world." For Nine, rather than a mission, it was more of a promise. In order to fulfill the promise, this man's strength was needed. Regret is inevitable. Cutting it off by saying with all her determination, the high heels noise resounded as Nine walked back down the long corridor. As if he was manipulated to be drawn to it, Terumi, the object called Terumi, staggeringly went after her. Following next was Jubei. Last, it was Valkenhayn. "Will this do, Clavis?" When he was about to leave, Valkenhayn turned around at the empty room with a stern expression. He deeply bowed his head to the previous head of the family who had just died. It was an event which happened on the cold January of 2107 AD. Chapter 1, Island of Green Wisdom, Part 1. This is a dream. He was aware of it since he was inside a scene he had never seen. Fuck this, I'm not gonna read any more of this for now. I'm tired. I'm gonna sleep and take a nap or something. Don't like, don't subscribe, and go fuck yourself or something, I don't know.